everybody. My name is Dr. Grant Lissiter, and I am a neurologically based chiropractor and a healthcare expert right here in Charlotte, North Carolina. And today I wanted to briefly talk to you guys about stress. This is a biggie right now, probably more now than it was even 6 months ago. Because 6 months ago, people had marital stress, right? Stress with their kids, financial stress, job stress. But then we threw in the P word, right? The pandemic word, and stresses just exponentially grew. Why is this such a big deal though? There was a study published in 2017 suggesting over 90% of hospitalizations were actually due to chronic disease. So where do those two come together here? Well, we know that chronic stress leads to eventual chronic disease. And so what does chronic disease look like? Well, it takes the form of things you are probably familiar with. Heart disease, cancer, diabetes, kind of goes on and on. You think of chronic disease, that's it, but those are really the big three plaguing our nation right now, and truthfully plaguing our community right here in Charlotte. But here's the interesting piece of this. The human body was meant and designed to adapt to stress. It's supposed to happen. We're made for it, literally. Where the problem comes though, is that chronic stress. Imagine, if you will, as you're sitting there right now, there is a tiger in the room. You're probably not going to be sitting comfortably in your armchair. You're going to have a fight or flight response. You're going to have that stress response. So what happens? Well, your blood pressure is going to go up, right? Your heart rate, your blood pressure are both going to go up because your body wants to get blood from your organs to your muscles so you can run. What else is going to happen? It's going to play with your hormones. It's biggie. You're going to get a big burst of adrenaline, but it's also going to remove the stimulation to your reproductive hormones because it's not important to reproduce if there's a tiger chasing you. And it's probably going to mess with your digestion because it's not important to digest your lunch if there's a tiger chasing you. It's going to be the tiger's problem to digest if it catches you. And the same thing with immune function. Is it important for your body to fight the infections going on inside your body, or is it more important to run from the tiger? It's always going to take priority, that fight or flight response. And there are people, honestly, many people in our country that are living this way the majority of their day. Because you got to consider, we talk about sleeplessness. You're not going to take a nap if there's a tiger chasing you. There's so many different things that are associated with this. And the majority of people are here 24/7. So what this can look like if there's a failure to adapt to a stress response physically, well, I guess first we should know what handles the stress response, and that's your central nervous system. Or maybe the nervous system as a whole we should point out, but the central nervous system, that is the brain, the brainstem and spinal cord, and the other branch of the nervous system is called the peripheral nervous system. That's where actually the nerves branch out from the spinal cord and go to all of the organs in the body. And so this is why, as you're watching this, you are alive and you can comprehend these words. It's absolutely amazing. But then the physiological parts, or the functional parts of the nervous system, we have, as you probably have already guessed, the fight or flight part of the nervous system. So that's called the sympathetic nervous system. And then we have the rest, digest, and heal part of the nervous system. So as you're sitting there, would you guess that people have more stimulation to the fight or flight or rest, digest, and heal part of the nervous system? Right? Yeah, it's gonna be the fight or flight nervous system. That's the majority of our population. And so if we're there for such a long period of time, the failure to adapt to that stress response, it can take shape and affect, let's talk about the nervous system in the low back. We can end up seeing issues like low back pain, pain in the back of the legs, and numbness in the feet. And those across the board, chiropractors are renowned for being able to help those musculoskeletal or the joint problems. Chiropractic is phenomenal for those issues. But the things people don't always associate is those nerves in the low back are going back to the digestive and reproductive organs. And so this is where we can see reproductive health issues. We can also see a lot of digestive complications, IBS, constipation, right? Because it's going to affect your digestion if you're fight or flight. In the mid-back, we can see shoulder pain, mid-back pain, yes, those are absolutely associated. Again, issues that most people think that's what chiropractors help with. But the other part of it is those nerves are going back to the heart, the lungs, the stomach, the liver. So we can see symptoms like, again, heart palpitations, blood pressure concerns, breathing issues, all can be associated. And in the neck, maybe it's neck pain or numbness and tingling in the hands and fingers, but these nerves go back in the head and neck. And so this is where we can see thyroid hormone imbalance, sinus issues, dry eyes, dry mouth, headaches, migraines, all can be associated. So if you're sitting here and you're watching this, you might be thinking, man, there's a couple of those I can probably relate to, right? Sleeplessness included with that, because again, insomnia is a biggie. As you're like, I can probably relate, what do I have to do about it? Well, that's kind of where we come to play, is because with neurologically based chiropractic, we can directly stimulate the rest, digest, and heal part of the nervous system. And so that looks like with people under our care, we hear most commonly after the very first adjustment, I have not slept that well in a very, very long time. And through time, repetition, we flash forward a few months and we start to hear other things more commonly. Doc, you'll never believe this, but I just got checked out by my doctor and I don't have to take my blood pressure medication anymore. My blood pressure is normal. Actually, they said it was too low with the blood pressure medication. A first-hand story for us is we had a gentleman who actually lost consciousness at a Barnes & Noble because his blood pressure dropped too low or he was still taking his blood pressure drugs. But we hear other stories too, like, Doc, you'll never believe, but we're finally expecting. So we hear all these amazing stories by turning off that fight and flight response of the nervous system. But it boils down to this, is how do we measure this? So you might be considering, okay, well, I can identify with some of this or maybe even a lot of it. How do I figure out where or if this is happening and what it looks like? Well, our office, we use technology that allows us to measure the sympathetic nervous system without any radiation. So this is FDA approved, it's safe for pregnant women, it's safe for children. And what it allows us to do, every segment of the spine, we can see if there's too much stimulation to that sympathetic nervous system, exactly how much is too much, and then we can also see what organ systems are affected by that. And as somebody progresses through our care, we can measure and see how much improvement's happening throughout the entire nervous system. It's outstanding. And we also use what's called static electromyography. And basically, this is a big fancy word that just means we are taking a measurement of your muscle activity, of the muscles that attach the spine. If there's increased activity, we know that those muscles can affect the shape of the spine sometimes, and so those two are definitely symbiotic. Now, you think about this technology and getting tested, if you were to go to a hospital, we know that tests are really expensive. And I'll tell you personally, we've invested a lot to have access to this technology. We want to make sure it's readily available for our community. And so we don't want to hang with the fees that the hospitals are charging, where it could be hundreds or thousands of dollars. We have really focused on keeping our care affordable for families. So both the advanced thermography and the static electromyography, those exams in our office are $75. And in my headspace, I think that is really, really reasonable. But if you're watching this video, it's because of one thing. It's because a friend or loved one told you you should check this out. And so what we'd like to do is, as you're watching this, we want to even further bless you. And that initial exam, including both the thermography and SEMG, is $20. And it's $20 per person. So I really hope as you watch this, you'll take advantage of this, take control of your health, and we really look forward to serving you in the near future. God bless you.